Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is the handover of the all-new Tracker RL from Motor Trail. So as we start, we'll walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first. The first point you get to is your chemical toilet. So you'd use the key. This round-headed key does all the outside locks. Open the locker. Ensure that the blade is closed on the bowl of the toilet, which I'll talk about more when I'm inside. Lift the orange handle and slide out. You've got some wheels there, so you can drag it to your waste disposal site, which is normally behind or beside your toilet block. And to empty, you'd remove the grey cap, tip to 90 degrees and press the orange button. Once you've tipped it out, if you put some water in via the spout, give it a final rinse and tip out again. And then if you are using the liquid form of chemical, either the blue or the green, fill your cap up and put a cap load in there. Or if you're using the new form, which is the tablets, you put a pint of water in there and then drop a sachet into the toilet, which will break down into the liquid. And then push it in, and when it clicks, it's back into position. Underneath you've got your grey wastewater outlet, so anything you've put down a plug hole goes into a waste holding tank, and normally on the way out of a site you'd go to the motorhome service bay, pull the handle and that'll drain out. Obviously in the winter it's very important that you drain all the water out of the vehicle, and this is one of the points you'd want to drain out. You've got your two fridge vents. You've got your mains connectivity point, so get your hookup lead, lift the collar and slide on. Always hook the vehicle up first, then the site, and obviously do it in reverse when unhooking the vehicle. You've got your boiler flue here, so this just allows all the fumes out from the heating and hot water system. You've got your external shower, so it's basically just like a hose pipe. It's a hose, you just clip your hose, so there's a trigger gun on the other end of the fitting, and that's a, make sure the pump's on, and that's a cold water feed external shower, which is good for the bikes, the dogs or the kids if you've been on the beach. Underneath this one is your freshwater drain. So if you've taken on contaminated water, or you're doing your final drain off for the season, you'd obviously pull that and allow all the water to drain out and leave no water within the vehicle. Top of these locks, you do a full turn to lock, a quarter of a turn with the key, and then when the handle goes to the frame, that's locked. And then obviously a quarter of a turn and then a full turn with the lock will open the door. You've got some storage at the back here, so you've got your on and winding handle, and you've got a bit of storage so you can store your items in the back underneath your back lounge. And then coming out the back, so you've got your high level brake light and rear view camera, and then this customer has fitted a Fiamma bike rack, so you just pull it down, put the bike's wheels on here, and then these clip the bike wheels down to the rails, and then these through your crossbars. Then what I would advise is you put some sort of security lock around your bikes, just in case you do have to make a stop at the service stations or anywhere your bikes are secure. On the other side you've got the same access to the garage. It's obviously your pegs for your awning and your awning winding handle, and then that's just your control unit for your back lights, and the plug for if you want power in your awning. So just a mains 240 volt plug, which will only work when hooked up. You've got a little key here which opens this flap, and this is your freshwater intake. So you get a hose pipe, put it in there, and wait until it overflows, or until you're happy you've got enough water on board, which you can't see from the control panel. You will have to get some connections, as it's just normally a brass tap on site. And then should you not be able to get a hose pipe to the vehicle, but you can bring it in an aqua roll or a bucket, you've got your 12 volt pins there for your wheel submersible pump, which you would then turn it on from the main control panel to allow it to start sucking the water into the tank from the holding tank, i.e. a bucket or an aqua roll. Next way you've got your external gas point. So you've got a spigot there which is cable tied on. If you just cut that cable tie, push that into there, then you'll need a Jubilee clip and some orange rubber gas hose. Connect it together and then you can power your Kadak or your external awning heater and turn on and off from the LPG tap there. And that'll just run off the main bottle on board instead of carrying an extra bottle to cook on the barbecue outside. At the front you've got your LPG, so liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker, and then you've got this, pull this down to help loading the bottles in and out. You get your gas bottle, you get your pigtail. It's a left hand thread with it being gas, so opposites. And then what you'll need is you'll need some adjustable spanner or a gas wrench to nip that up. And then what you do is you turn on and off at the top of the bottle. Once you do turn it on, there's a black stopper just here. If you press that for 3 seconds, it allows the gas through the crash valve and into the vehicle, and ensure that this yellow toggle is pushed into the regulator, and that opens the crash valve and allows it into the vehicle. And obviously make sure that they are strapped in when you're travelling for safety reasons. At the passenger door, this is where you would fill with diesel via the ignition key, your lockable diesel cap, and below you've got AdBlue because you're a Euro 6D compliant engine. This is a 19 litre tank, and you'll get an exhaust light between the temperature and fuel gauge on the dashboard. When this does come on, just pull into your nearest forecourt. You can either buy it in the drums or you can buy it on the pump and just top your AdBlue up. Failing to top your AdBlue up, we'll either put the vehicle into limp mode, which is 50 mph maximum speed, or if it goes completely dry of AdBlue, the engine won't start and you will have to get some sort of assistant recovery out to then plug it in and reset the AdBlue once topped up. On the door panel you've got 5.5 bar, which is 79.5 psi all round. Your main engine battery is underneath the floor in the panel, so you'd lift your carb mat up and it's in there. And then you do have your toolkit, so you've got a jack and a brace and a torn eye in there, and your bonnet release is on the side of the dashboard. So if we have a quick look underneath the bonnet, so you've got all your fluids this side. So you've got your screen wash, this lifts off, and you've got power steering and radiator coolant. You've got your brake fluid, you've got your engine oil and dipstick, paint codes on this panel here, the earth for giving a jump start, and then your positive you just put in here, lift the cover up, and you can put a positive for giving or receiving a jump start there. Weight plate, so don't go off this one anymore, because that's when it was a chassis cab and they didn't know what they were going to build it into. It's now become a motorhome, so you need to go off this one. So it's 3.5 ton gross vehicle weight, so anyone passing after 1997 without C1 on the license can drive this vehicle. But then if you are towing, you do exceed, your towing weight can't exceed 4,750 kilograms. So to lock your door, you just push the chrome catch backwards and that locks it. And you do have a full-size fly screen on there when the door's open, and obviously a blackout line for on an evening on the habitation door. You've got your step light, and you've got your light at the back of the van as well, all controlled via this switch. So starting off above your fridge, this is all your 12-volt control panel. So first of all, if you're hooked up, you'll have a little energy sign at the top that'll tell you the external and internal temperature. You've got an on-off there, so that'll either give you 12 volt if you're not hooked up to mains, but if you're on a site and you're hooked up, you'll have 240 volt. Across from it, you've got your light switch. So this is the master switch for the lights, then they all are individually switched. And then you've got your pump. So should you be using the external shower, the shower inside, the taps, the toilet, the kitchen tap, you've got to have the pump on to pressurize the water. Obviously, if there's no water in there, don't turn the pump on, as you can fry the pump out. Under the main lights, you've got the awning light, which is the external light, and then you've got the dimmer, which dims the lights underneath your lounge. So you can set the dimmer levels and dim them down. And then you've got your fresh water levels, which is just this one here. So it's 75% fresh, 0 waste. And then you've got your battery levels. So you've got leisure battery of 14.1 volt. Obviously, when hooked up, the batteries tend to give a false reading as such. When unhooked, they give a better reading because obviously they're not getting the mains current. So they aren't charging, so they'll give you a true reading. So 14.1 on leisure, 13.1 on vehicle. The active battery, which is always the leisure battery, 0.3 amps is coming from that at the moment. And then you do have the mains current of 9.3 amp coming in, and the solar has gone to sleep because mains takes priority. Go into the house in the middle, take you back to the home screen, and then you can go to the settings. Your active battery always wants to be the leisure battery, and then the solar battery you can put on smart. And what smart does is it analyzes both batteries, and whichever battery is lower on charge, it will switch the solar charge to that battery. I would leave it on smart for the solar, but never for the active, because if the engine battery is more charged than the leisure battery, which sometimes it can be, obviously you don't want the motorhome running off the engine battery and flattening your battery, because then you're not going to get anywhere. Your tank fill is here, so if you're filling from an aqua roll from outside and you can't get a hose pipe to it, you turn this on, and then the submersible pump can be plugged in and will start sucking the water out the barrel. And your tank heaters are underneath, so if it's going to be a cold night and potentially freeze overnight, you can turn your tank heaters on, which puts a current through the water to stop the water from freezing. Scrolling along, you've got your dimmer levels and your light settings, and then you've got your screen settings and your date and time. Across from it, you've got your heating and hot water control panel. So to turn on and off, you just press it and hold, and it'll say off, and then obviously it'll turn on. To enter the menu, you'd press enter, and then you do have in the top left hand corner a motorhome with a thermometer in. So this is the temperature of the vehicle. You can have it all the way to off or all the way up to 30 degrees. So for this, we'll just say 27 degrees. And then next, you've got water. So if you've got no water in, don't have your water on, because it's like boiling a kettle empty. It'll fry the element. You've got eco, which is heating your water at 40 degrees. Hot, which is heating your water at 60 degrees. And boost, which is turning your heating on, off, and putting your water on first. So prioritizes the water and turns the heating off until the water is hot. So for this, we'll just say hot. Then you've got what source. So you've got gas on its own if you're wild camping and you weren't hooked up and you were in the middle of nowhere. You've got a mixture of 1 kilowatt of electric and gas, a mixture of 2 kilowatts of electric and gas. So this is double the source together, which reduces the heating time. So this is great for in the winter if it is cold. And then obviously you would give that, it preheats the vehicle up to temperature a lot quicker. And then what you can do is you can turn it off from there. So turn it off from mix after about half an hour, 20 minutes. And then you can put it onto electric, so you're not wasting your gas. You've got electric on 1 kilowatt, which you'd use on smaller CL sites, and electric on 2, which you'd use on most sites throughout the country. Coming to the bottom, or should I say the top right, you've got your fan speed. So eco you'd use as it's a 12 volt assisted fan if you're wild camping or on an evening, because the fans aren't as loud. And then high if you're on a site, you'll hear the fans get slightly louder, so that's why you'd use eco on an evening. Come to the bottom left, you've got a timer, so you can time the heating to come on and off. You've got the time displayed on the main control panel. Then should you get a warning triangle in the middle, you'll go to the settings in the bottom right, go to reset, press enter, it'll come up preset, press enter, and then you'll have to go and manually select the temperature, the hot water, the energy source and fan speed again. Below your control panel and heating panel you've got your fridge. So this is a Thetford fridge. So to turn on and off you'd use the square button and you'll get the blue light when it's on. And then if you press the square button on the panel, what you'll be able to do to change the energy source is press until it starts flashing and then use the arrows to move it along. A stands for automatic energy selection, so the brain of the fridge knows what source we'll have available and puts on the best one. So at the moment it's took one to hook up, which is mains power. We have got the gas open and we have got the gas on board. So if I was to take the hookup out, it would switch over to gas. If I was then to start the engine, it would go to the battery setting, which is not, so don't think the fridge will work off battery completely. When you're standing, it won't. The engine's got to be on and it turns it into a cool box. So it only you've got to pre-chill it first before it goes onto battery. Otherwise it's pretty much useless, because the battery won't freeze the fridge or cool the fridge any further. It'll just maintain the temperature it was previously set at. So if you're lucky enough to keep it at home, hook it up a day or two before, put your shopping in the night before, and then if it's on automatic, it'll automatically do its thing, or if you want to manually do it, you just move it along. Or if you're going from site to site, obviously automatic, do its own thing, or you'd move it along. If you press again, what you can do is, once you've pressed for the energy source, it'll give you the temperature. So you may want to turn it down from 5 bars, because people say 5 bars can freeze what's in the fridge. And then obviously you can move the temperature up and down accordingly. Got your freezer box and your fridge. When winterizing, if you take everything out of it, give it a wipe out, and then what you want to do is you want to leave the door open. So you can either leave the door open like it is now, or you can pull this little catch forward and then it stops it from shutting on itself, and it allows air circulation in and out around the fridge door. So now in the kitchen area, so you've got your gas rings. So you've got 3 gas, 1 electric on the mains hookup only, which is your hot plate. So there you go, there's 2 lit, and then you've got your third one here, all lit. Once you've had it on for any length of time, if you allow them to cool down before you put the glass cooker hood down, otherwise you could shatter it. Same with the electric hot plate, which is this one here. You've got your grill. You may want to remove your grill pan when travelling, or wrap it up. And below you've got your oven. So oven, and again you may want to remove the oven shelves, but if you make sure that the pointy bits go at the back and the flat point goes to the front, as this is the way it's designed to be. And below you've got your gas taps. So any problems with gas, turn the bottle off outside to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is habitation serviced, and you've got your water pump at the back. So that'll kick in when the pump's turned on and the tap is open. Got storage. Got a handy extension panel for when you're cooking, so you can rest your chopping board on there. Below you've got your cutlery drawer, and then to drop it, what you do is you just push these catches here and drop it, and then it just clicks in, and you've got storage underneath as well. Above you've got your cups, plates and bowls rack. There's your drainer, so that can sit on the bench or in the sink. You've got your main plug for your microwave, which is an 800 watt Russell Hobbs microwave, which is mains power only. So don't think this is 12 volt, it's not, it's mains power only. And then your water pump is working there. So that water is getting up the temperature now on the hot side of the tap and producing nice hot water. Across from your washroom you do have your wardrobe and a cupboard with storage underneath, but in here is very important because this is your power supply unit. So you've got your system shutdown button, which is this black button at the back, and obviously if you turn that off in the winter it'll stop any power drain, but it will also turn off your head unit, because your head unit, there's a feed from here which runs to your reverse camera. So if you then take the vehicle out and you're wondering why you can't get the radio or the reverse camera to work and you've turned this off, that's why. You've got all your 12-volt fuses, which are all listed here, so just carry some spare blade fuses. And on this side you've got your RCD and your MCB. So if you trip the vehicle out, try here before you try your main site. And you've got your charger and heating and hot water on electric at the back, which is heating and hot water is all then controlled through your Truma control panel above your fridge, and your charger is obviously charging your leisure battery and vehicle battery when hooked up. You've got your build number, so this number is unique to each vehicle that Auto Trail build. So if you quote this number, should you ever need any warranty claims or any parts for your vehicle, if you give your dealer this number, they will then go onto the Auto Trail system and find the best parts for your vehicle. Above you've got your large wardrobe, so you've got a waist extension pipe, so if you can't get to the gully on the site you can connect that at the waist and decart it further. You've got a hooker blade, you've got a fire extinguisher, and you've got your cab, or should I say motorhome carpets. So next to the fridge is your freestanding table, which is just like an ironing board, so you can have that at the back or you can have that outside should it be a nice day. You've got storage underneath here and a bit of a nice place to put your cup of tea or your glass of wine when you sit in the back. To operate the telly, turn on and off with a remote, but there is a master switch which is just down here, this little button. So if that's ever been caught and you're wondering why you can't get the telly on, that's why. And then what you'll need to do is you'll need to press AQT. So if you press and hold, it'll start doing a channel search and find as many channels as it can in your area. So when you move from site to site, your telly won't automatically pick up a new signal. You'll have to retune it and find as many channels as you can. In the cupboard above the TV is it's got a fixed maxi aerial on, but you can min and max the signal should it be too strong or too weak by this black wheel here. And then you do have some wine bottle holders, and then on the other side you've got some wine glasses holders. You've got storage across the top, and then to operate this Skylight, you tilt the bar back, which takes the catches off the lugs on the lid, and slide it open. And then you do have a blackout blind and a fly screen should you want it open during the summer months but you don't want any unwanted guests in. So underneath the bench seat beside the TV is where your Truma boiler lives. So this boiler holds 10 litres of water at any one time, and it is very important in all motorhomes and caravans that they are winterized for the winter season, because if the water was to freeze in here it would crack the boiler, potentially flood the vehicle, and isn't covered under warranty because it's your responsibility to drain it down. And all the tanks and pipes are plastic on the vehicle to get a better payload, so it isn't like home where everything's copper and doesn't freeze and split. But to drain it down, this little yellow toggle, when it's lying down like so, this is holding water. So this boiler has now got 10 litres of water in. If I was to lift that up like so, you leave it stood up during the time it's in storage or being not used in the winter, the water will drain out the boiler directly out underneath the chassis with it stood up. You would leave all the taps open within the vehicle, obviously remove your shower head, lie the hose down in the shower tray, open the fresh and waste outside of the vehicle. Then when you are ready to reuse it, you shut all your taps, your boiler, your fresh waste outside, all your taps within the vehicle. Put a hose pipe in the side of the vehicle from the outside and fill it with water. Go to the control panel, put the pump on once the water's on board. Go to the cold side of the tap first. You'll get automatic cold water because the pump's pumping it from the tank below straight to the tap. Go to the hot, and then what it's doing is it's coming from the main tank into the boiler, filling this up. It'll cough, splutter, make all sorts of noises until you get a steady flow on one tap. Then you would do them all, and then that's when your system is primed for the season. But like I say, lift it up and drain it off, as it's very important to winterize the vehicle to avoid any frost damage, which isn't covered under any warranty. On the other side, underneath the bench sheet behind the kitchen area, you've got a 20 amp fuse here, and underneath this panel here is where your leisure battery lives. So you've got one banger battery in there, but you do have some storage in here as well, and you've got access from the front in there, or you can lift the cushion up and lift this panel out and load it from the top as well. To make a U-shaped lounge into a bed, turn the turnbuckle and pull the latch system out. You'll get all the way until you get to these little noggins, bum stops, and then you would pull it over, push the board in there on the other side. Then you know it's not going to move when you're sleeping. You'd use your backrests into here. It is quite a tight fit, but it's designed to be a tight fit because you don't want them moving when you're sleeping. And then what I would do is turn the base cushions the other way as well, and you've got a flatter surface to sleep on, no ridges, and you can put a fitted sheet on and have a more comfortable night's sleep. All your reading lights are individually switched, so you can have which reading light on you want at any one time. And then open your windows. Open, push out and turn, and you do have a fly screen and a blackout blind. Unscrew, and then obviously make sure all your windows and skylights are securely shut before you start travelling, as they're just plastic and they could be ripped off by the wind and they're very expensive to replace. On the window, you'll notice on this one only it says Truma. And what that is, that's a switch. So if this window is open and your boiler's underneath and you've got your flue here, it will turn the hot water off and the boiler off because it doesn't want the fumes coming back into the vehicle. It wants them to be out. So if you've got the hot water system and heating on gas, keep this window shut. Open the other windows, that's fine, but this window must be shut, otherwise your boiler will fail because it's stopping it from operating properly in fear of carbon monoxide poisoning. So now in the washroom area, you've got your large shower with a hanging rail, which is quite good because if you're going on a longer trip you can double this up as a wardrobe, or if you've been out walking the dogs or caught out in the rain, you can put your wet clothes in here, shut the door, put the heating on, and in here will get lovely and toasty and dry them clothes out in no time. Ensure that the shower screen turnbuckle is turned when travelling. It just keeps the doors positioned back well and stops them banging about when you're travelling. And then when you winterize, if you take your shower header off your shower hose and allow your hose to lie in your shower tray, as you can see it's got quite a loop in there, any water could potentially freeze. If you lie that right down, any water will drain off down the plug hole. You'll have your waste and fresh open from outside, and you leave your mixer taps open throughout the vehicle to stop any water from freezing in the pipes. Your plug here is just a push plug, and then to operate your toilet, ensure the pump's on, press the blue button and you'll hear the flush, and you can obviously see the water. And then what you can do is flush first, which lubricates the blade, slide the grey lever to the right, which opens the cassette, use the toilet, flush the toilet, and then slide back to the left, which shuts the blade and allows you to get the cassette out the outside of the vehicle should you need to change it and top it up with chemical. You'll get a light on here where the diagram of the cassette is to say that it needs changed and topped up with chemical. It's full. Got some toiletry storage and some more toiletry storage, and your bathroom light is on the side there. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver, you do have your handbrake. And then on the windows, to black them out, you've got your MS cab blinds on passenger and driver. So if you pinch and slide along, you can black them out. And then on the windscreen, if you pinch and slide in, like so, you can black the whole cab out. Or on an evening. And then you've got your electric windows and electric mirror adjustments, which does the top and the bottom, so 2 positioning on each mirror. Headlight adjustment, rear fogs, and turns your stop start off should you not want it. Or with this being an automatic, you just put your foot on the brake, and should the battery be charged enough, it will cut out at the traffic lights, lift your foot off the brake, and it'll cut back in. You have your trip computer on the end of your wiper stalk, which goes through your travelling times, average speed, average distance, range, consumption, a lot. And then you've got lights and indicators, all your steering wheel controls, and then behind you've got cruise control, so you get your desired speed, put your cruise control on, which is the one up, and push up. Should you have to brake, you can cancel it, resume it here, or you can cancel it on the stalk. So cancel resumes this one here. You can speed up or slow down. And if you go to the bottom, and then at the bottom you've got the speed limiter. So if you go up slowly, you go up in 1s. If you push and hold, it goes up in 5s. But it does have the kick down function, so you can see your speed limiter in the top left hand corner. Push the accelerator harder and it'll override the speed limiter should you need to, as it is a safety feature. This model is fitted with a 9-speed gearbox, which your customers opt for. They come standard as a manual. So park at the top, go down into reverse, which brings on your rear view camera should the engine be on. So I've got to pop it back into park, start it up, and then go into reverse, which obviously brings your camera on like so. And then that solid beeping behind is just to say I'm hooked up, so don't drive anywhere, because you've only got 25 meters on the hooker blade. And then obviously you can go down to neutral, and you can go to drive, push out for manual, and you go up and down in the modes. You can go to eco, normal, or power. To be fair, you don't see any gain in eco, but in power it just holds the revs slightly longer and holds the gear. Coming down here, you've got traction control and hill descent control, hazards, locks the doors on an evening, and you've got your heated mirrors. USB for charging and 12 volt for charging. Cup holders. You've got your USB in there for the head unit, and you've got another glove box there. Temperature. Fan speed must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, and then you've got your distribution, so where you want the air to go to, and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're circulating air within the vehicle. So this is how to operate the Vodafone 4615 category 1 alarm. So on both A-pillars of the windscreen you've got ultrasonic sensors, which obviously if you lock the vehicle, so if you lock the vehicle, it's wired through the canvas, so if you lock it, it sets the alarm. But should the key die, battery die in here, in the key, and obviously your blade key, your spare key is a blade key on Fate. You've got arm and disarm on these little fobs, which you should carry with you on both sets of keys. You can arm and disarm the alarm. But obviously if you're keeping a dog in, or you want to arm it with yourselves in, you'll have to turn the ultrasonic sensors off. And to do so, turn the ignition lights on, turn the ignition lights off. This is your display. Within 6 seconds, press and hold. It'll flash red until it stops flashing, and then that is the ultrasonics turned off. But as soon as you put the engine back on, it'll go back to default, and these sensors will be picking and receiving a signal. So if anything does move, it will set the alarm off. So just quickly again, ignition on, ignition off. Within 6 seconds, press and hold, it'll flash red until it stops flashing, and that is the sensors turned off. So to operate your accent head unit, obviously turn on and off through here. It'll come on with the ignition. Anyway, you've got navigation, which your chip's in the top, and then you go, shows you a map where you are. You go to the 3 lines in the bottom right, go to new route, address, and then in the middle you can put your postcode or town where you want to navigate to, and then you go to town and then start navigation, and it will navigate you to your destination via an address or a postcode, or of course you can use the one above, which is a street name. Going back to home, you've got radio, which is FM AM, and obviously you can press 1 to 6 on preset to save your favourite FM radio stations. But it is DAB as well, so you can go to DAB, but in some places you can't get a strong enough DAB signal, so you may have to swap over to FM. Go to list, obviously it shows all your national, and it shows our regional stations, which is Tyne and Wear because we're in Newcastle. And again you can press preset and save 6 channels. Bluetooth, so you can connect your phone via Bluetooth, so you go into your phone, start searching for it, and this unit's called an XF270, that's the model number. And then once you start searching for it, this will search for it in your phone, and it'll come up with your device, and you just press pair. Then on your phone it'll ask you if you want to pair, which you just press pair, and then it'll ask you if you want to sync your contacts and say allow. So then whoever is in your phone book and rings you when you're driving will come up with a name if they're saved instead of just a number. You do have on the Bluetooth as well the option for Bluetooth audio, which is the music symbol, so once you are connected to it you'll be able to click that and stream your music from over Bluetooth from your device. Go to home, you can go along and you can USB, so again USB is in the top glove box, so USB iPod will come on, camera if you were ever to tow anything, should the engine be on. If I just turn the engine on there, go to camera, like so. This camera can be on permanently, but then you can still scroll through your options. So if you were towing a small car or you wanted to see out the back of the vehicle when merging on the between lanes on the motorway, you can do. But and then if you ever, sometimes if these go slow and glitchy, you've got to update them, and you would just go onto the Accent website, software update, make sure it's an F270 for this model, put it on download it onto a USB from your laptop or your computer, plug it in, go to setup, go to other, and then you would install software here, and then it would have a tick once that USB is in with the software, and you can install the new software onto there. But you can see what version you're running, so this is running version 2 at the moment. There might be a new update that you may just have to install if it ever was to get slow or glitchy.